Ciao everybody. I'm glad you're all joining me here today in my kitchen. So glad to be here. Today we are going to make some orange risotto. Now, whenever you know how to make a basic dish like a risotto, you can make any kind. You can change it up, you can do all kind of fun stuff. This one right now, I have so many oranges because we've been eating a lot of oranges this winter to stay healthy. And I just love the freshness of the oranges. So we are going to make an orange risotto, and I've decided I'm going to add a few things to it today. So we're going to get started so I can just get rolling here and I'll explain as we go. So I'm making what's the equivalent of 4 portions. Now normally when you have a dish like a risotto or a pasta dish, it's your first course, you're making a smaller portion because you're going to have a second course and the contorni, the side dishes. I'm making 4 portions. It may just be our whole lunch today. If not, we will have some later on or leftovers. Pasquale likes to eat and then he likes to have a snack. If not, it'll be, a snack for tomorrow or whatever. But I have a feeling we're going to finish it because he loves risotto. So anyway, so we're going to start with our frying pan. Now in the meantime, over here I've got a pot with broth in it, vegetable broth, and I have another little pot here with hot water. I already warmed up the water, but I'll show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. All right, so we're going to get the pan warm first a little bit. Now, if you want a really nice creamy, listen, I'm saying risotto because I say risotto with the Italian accent, I say creamy. So you want a nice creamy risotto, you may want to use the butter in the recipe. You can also always add a little something else to make it creamy, a little milk, a little cream, or whatever. But the way you cook risotto is what makes it creamy. You pull all the starch out of the rice slowly and it just becomes creamy on its own. I'm trying to stay a little healthy, so I'm going to use a little bit of butter, but I'm going to use some olive oil. So here's my butter. So normally I'd say about a 1/4 cup. So, what do you call it? Actually, no, I think it would be more like 1/4 cup. It would be about a 1/2 stick of butter. So I'm going to use about a 1/4 stick of butter, which would be about 25-30 grams if you're looking at it that way. And I'm going to put in a little bit of olive oil. I'm using extra virgin, and probably equal amounts of olive oil to butter. To get a little flavor and creamy of the butter, but I also love the flavor of the olive oil. So we're going to let that melt down here. I've got this on low heat now. And I'm going to go ahead, even though the butter's not fully melted, I'm going to go ahead and throw in, I've already chopped up 1 onion. It was an onion about the size of this orange here. Your standard size onion. We're going to give it lots of good flavor. And the onion, when you cook it up, it's so nice and sweet. So it adds a lot of the sweetness to the dish. All right, let's get this started here. Already with the butter and the olive oil, you can, it just that instant, it's already smelling good. All right, now I've got this diced kind of small, so they should cook up quickly, and you're not going to have big chunks of onion in your, except for that one piece right there. Okay. Chop onion. All right. We'll leave that there for a second, but then we're going to toast that in a minute, but we're going to just start with that. Get my things out of the way as we get going. Okay, an all-important ingredient here is an orange. Now, we're going to do 2 things, actually. This here is a different kind of orange. It actually has an oranger, deeper orange skin. These are both organic. These are just a different kind. So I'm going to use this, though, for the zest, and I'm going to juice one of those. Because what we're going to do, you can use a fine knife if you've got a sharp enough paring knife. We want to cut the orange skin without getting the white part. Or you can use a peeler. You can also do this. And that comes out beautiful thin also. So we just want some of the orange zest. But we're going to, some people, the zesting, most people look at it as zesting little teeny pieces. This is also zesting, so to speak. We're going to use the skin, but just this outside part. Very, very paper thin. This is such a bright, cheerful dish, especially at any time of year. Like you can do this in the winter time, in the summertime, but on a gloomy day, if you want to really make something to, you know, lift your mood, this is it. I don't know why I'm doing all of this, but you know, we'll see here. Okay, I'm going to. Now, what I'm going to do with these pieces is I'm going to cut them into the longer piece I'm going to cut into really fine strips. So I've got these little teeny, pretty skinny little strips. And what I'm going to do is here, I have a little pot. I'm going to turn it on now. Now, I like the way they say things in Italian. It's like 2 fingers worth of water. So just about an inch of water. And we're going to go ahead and throw these little I'm looking at onions. I'm smelling onions. We're going to put these little orange zest strips into that water to blanch. Also makes them a little milder. But you know, when you don't, you know, everybody says, oh, you can't eat orange skin. Absolutely you can. It's just the white part right underneath, the pith, as they call it, which I think is the worst name, that is bitter. So this stuff is not. This is what they make the orange marmalade out of, this fine skin. So I'm going to go ahead and put all this finely cut pieces of orange into the water to just cook up a little. Oh yes. Some people put the risotto in first to toast, and some people, and you know, or you can do that and take it out and then do the onions. What we're doing is the onions first. I can take them out and then toast this, or I can just do it the really easy way and move the onions off to the side and put the rice over to the other side. So, you know, you can do it however you want. There are no real rules in the kitchen. The fact of the matter is that if you keep a proper pantry and you've got certain things in your house all the time, you can make anything out of anything. I didn't have to go to the store today to make orange risotto. I always have a couple packages of risotto, risotto rice, either the arborio or the carnaroli. There's a few other ones too. Once in a while we'll grab, but when I can find them, it's not even easy to find, so I don't even bother talking about it. But the arborio and the carnaroli you can usually find. Okay, I'm gonna turn down low and that on low. Okay. So while those are still simmering up a little, I'm going to juice. Actually, I was going to juice the other orange, but since this one is a really, I'm not even started. It is a little harder to juice an orange when you've taken the skin off, so just be careful. It's actually almost easier to move the cup underneath it than it is to turn and just kind of massage it around. And I got a lot of, got a good amount of juice out of there. Now, because this orange did not have any seeds in it, I'm going to go ahead and put the pulp into the juice and put that in as well. Because that has flavor and little chunks of goodness. I decided here at the last minute that I'm going to throw a little bit of fennel, because fennel and orange goes really well together. And if you slice the fennel really, really thin, actually I'm going to make it in like little longer strips instead of dicing it. I'm going to cut it really, really thin and just throw a little fennel in. Fennel has a nice flavor that adds to all these things. But again, I'm really cutting these really paper thin. Now this is, I haven't put fennel in my orange risotto before. I have made orange risotto before. I've never put the fennel in, but I saw it in the fridge. I'm like, orange and fennel goes really good together. So I'm going to throw a little of this in now. And now I'm going to throw in my rice. I'll let these cook on the side here. This is the way you really should do it. You don't have to, and especially if you're making a smaller portion, like only 2 people, so you're using half this rice. But since I am making a little bit bigger portion, the fennel will cook in the rest of the dish. So I'm not worried about it. Okay. So I'm going to throw. Well, I can still smell the butter on the pan, but I'm going to go ahead and throw just a smidge of oil in, because it's still really coated with the butter and the oil from before. And I'm going to throw in the rice. I'm going to take the heat up just a little bit. It's on medium now instead of low. And we're going to go ahead and toast up the rice. So I'm gonna spread, I always spread it all around because it uses up all the surface area. And then let that start to cook. I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw in just another little dab of butter. Just a, you know, a little slice, just to give it a little extra grease and a little flavor. Oh, that melted fast. So the reality of it is, most people are like, I don't want to make risotto, it takes too long. You know, it is so good, it is worth it. The other thing is this, you know, I always say, embrace the stir. Enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy the smells that are coming up. Like right now, I can smell the orange peel cooking over here. And let's see, I think that's good enough. Let me turn that off. And, you know, this is going to be super yummy. So I toast these until I start seeing a few of them just turn a little golden. I don't want them like dark brown. I don't want them to get charred because then they're going to get too crusty and then they're not going to release their beautiful starches and fluff up and be all yummy and creamy. We just want to toast them up a little bit. So as I was saying, it usually takes 15 to 20 minutes. And yeah, you're at the stove. But you know what? While you're at the stove, you can think about what you're going to make for dinner tomorrow. You can talk to people who are walking around the house. And you can also just sit here and meditate and enjoy, like I said, the beautiful smells of what you're doing. Okay, so now, this, you can, I don't know if you can see, but they're just getting a little toasty. And now we're going to start adding the goods. So most risottos have a little bit of wine in them. You always want to put your wine in first. Oops, what did I do with it? I put it over here. You want to put your wine in first because you want the wine, the alcohol to cook out. You don't want to add like, sometimes, you know, people have like, you know, you have a little extra, you need a little extra moisture at the end and you're like, I'll throw in some wine. No, don't do that. Because then you have the wine flavor overpowering everything else. So you put your wine in at the beginning. And this is truly to taste. You can put in a couple tablespoons, you can put in half a cup. I'm going to go with probably quarter cup and a splash. Okay. And you really want to stir it around and get it on all the rice because it's all going to soak it in very quickly. Now, we're going to do something yummy. We're going to throw in, which is, let's see if it says here, 125 milliliters, which is on the other side. I think it has the, it's almost, I can't see it. I can't tell. It's almost half a cup of orange juice with its pulp. So excited. Each addition of liquid that you put in, you're going to stir it up till it's mostly soaked in. And then you're going to, I'm going to actually turn this pan's really hot right now, so I'm going to turn it off for a little bit, just for a couple minutes, and then get it going again. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is now start putting in one ladle full at a time. In the meantime, you can also, you can do this later on, but you can, now we've got this other zest going and we're going to be putting that in, but we're going to wait till a little closer to the end. And we got the strips, so we can either put them in like little strips or we can chop them up finer if you want. It's all up to you, but they actually taste good. Alright, so we're going to put in some more broth. So it's still dry-ish, but it's getting there. See how it's starting to get, you can tell it's starting to get a little more like it's sticking together. Because it's releasing the starches. And you want to do that slowly, you know? We're going to put in a little more. We're going to cook that around. Now, I warmed up my broth beforehand because, that's another little tip, you know. You can do it cold, it just takes longer. So if you actually want to do this, enjoy the process, but also have it not take too long. You know, start with your broth and any of the juices and liquids, except for the wine. You know, I'm not heating up the wine for the little bit I'm putting in, but everything else I heat up, and it works a lot better. Now, one of the things that I'm thinking about doing, I took it out, I was debating, but I'm going to throw a little kale in it as well. So I'm going to put that in before the rice actually stops cooking, because I want it to cook down with it a little bit. So in the liquid. So oops. I had already cut this, actually that's too much. We'll just put that much in. But it looks good. And I figure, you know, I like to have something green with every one of my, I swear there's something on me, but I can't find it. Okay, time for more juice here. I like to have something green in every meal. I don't know what it is. It's aesthetically pleasing, you know, pretty to the eye. I like having my colors mixed, you know, the orange and the green is so pretty together. But it just also, I just physically, I think I feel better. I have this mental thing now that I know that I feel better when I have something green in every meal almost. Okay, not every meal, but really close. Oh, this is, look how pretty this is. Can you see it? So the bright green. All right, so we're like more than halfway there. That's why I put in the greens. I want them to cook. I have very little, you know, I usually like stems, but in this I don't have. I've got just real thin, you know, the leaves and little, if there's any stem, it's really thin. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the onions and fennel back in. Now look, there are perfect ways, I'm gonna say this now, there are perfect ways to make every dish. If you're a chef who works in a restaurant, or you're a chef instructor and you're showing, you're doing it all the right way, there's ways that some chefs will tell you, you can't do this and you can't do that. And that's a bunch of baloney, and I'll tell you why. Because what I'm teaching you is home cooking. And there's nobody here looking over your shoulder saying, you can't do it that way, because you can. This is my kitchen, that's your kitchen, and you need to cook in a way that honors the food, respects the food, but also respects you and your desires and your flavors and the things that you want to add or subtract from a recipe. It's always your own recipe. Look how pretty it's getting. So it's getting there. And it's got the pretty green leaves in here. I don't know, I just think it makes me happy. Okay, we're getting there. So that's cooking up. We're on medium heat right now. I don't know, we're about 10 minutes in. We should be doing pretty good. All right, so now we are close to the end. I don't like to wait till it's totally dry to add my cheeses. Some people wait till the end and kind of mix it in then. I like to go ahead and get it so it melts a little bit better and adds to the creaminess of the dish. So we are getting close to the end. So I probably put right now about a quarter to a third a cup of cheese. Again, you can put in as much or as little as you want. That's what makes it Dorina's kitchen and your kitchen. Oh yeah, that's good. A little chunk of cheese. Yeah, I might have to add a little more cheese. Now once it starts, really soaking in, in the beginning it takes a bit to get in, but then it really starts to soak and it's bubbling and smelling good. Risotto does not have to be one of those things that you're afraid of. I know so many people, oh, risotto, that's hard. And I'm like, no, it's not. Okay. Now, what I have right here is these pretty little pieces of zest. Now, I can leave them as they are. Wow. It just tastes like orange. It doesn't taste bitter. I can make them a little smaller. Those were stuck together. And then I can just put them in here. Now I can also take a regular zester and I can do a little bit of this. And this just, you know, gets the flavor. Again, always remember to just get that orange part, and once you get to the white, don't let it in there. Okay, so now, oh man, does that add to the smell? So I'm going to add a little more of this zest, these little strips here. And look at, now look at this, with the green and the orange, oh my gosh, how pretty is this? If you're doing this for company, you have a couple spoons handy, because that way you're not double dipping. But let's just do a little teeny taste for the texture and for the flavor. Oh wow, the flavor is out of this world. Needs a couple more minutes. Still a little bit al dente, but it's at it. If you served it like this, you're not committing a crime. I like it a little softer, with just a touch of al dente. So now this thing is going to be perfect. The last scoop and a half, last scoop of my broth. Now, if you get to the end of your liquids and you still need a little more, it doesn't kill anybody to add a 1/4 cup of water. I hate saying it, or even a 1/4 cup of milk. You can do those if you need some more liquid and you get, whoops, spilled some. Need a little extra liquid, because usually if you run out of liquid, it means you cook. You know, I usually use maybe 4 cups, I think, approximately, of liquid. But it depends. If your heat's a little higher and you cook it a little faster, you might evaporate a little of the liquid faster, so therefore you need a little more. Or oh, excuse me, I think there was 1 rice grain left. Oh, that's funny. Good thing this is I'm eating for me. If you end up with a little extra liquid that you don't need, it's because maybe you cooked it slower and it just soaked in that way. So it's okay. But by this point, all the good flavorful stuff is already cooked in to the risotto. Wow. Now it's now really getting nice and creamy. You can you see it? I don't know if you can see this, but it's, look at that. Oh yeah. And just beautiful. So now I have just a smidge left of these little orange zest that I'm going to save to kind of garnish on top. I'm going to throw just a smidge more cheese in, just because. You know, sometimes there's no reason officially to add more cheese. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Now, I've already got some pretty green in there, but if you were doing this, say, without the kale, and if you have some chives or some green onions or something, you could take these and just chop them into little teeny pieces. But look how pretty that looks. So we're just gonna give it a little bit of a shake. And now we're gonna take a smidge more of these little orange pieces here. Maybe some little chives on top. And we have this beautiful dish of risotto. Let me show you up close. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Whoop. Hopefully it's not gonna slide. So, let me see here how this is. Wow. The citrus really comes through, but it's not overly citrusy or overly sweet. These little pieces of orange do not taste bitter or anything at all, like you would picture orange to taste. There's a little bit of that. The kale was cooked just enough, and because I had it in little pieces too, and just the leaves, that made it not too it didn't mess with the creaminess and the beautiful texture of the risotto either. So, oh, wait a minute. There's a nice piece of fennel. Let's have a piece of the fennel with it. The fennel actually gets really mild, like it's not really a strong flavor. You can taste just a hint of it. But again, it all helps give the whole flavor to the whole dish. So I hope you liked this recipe. I hope it will show you that making a risotto is pretty easy and something you can make dinner in 20 minutes with a nice rice. You've got fruit, you've got a green vegetable, so it's a nice one dish. You could add any other vegetable you wanted to it too. You could add zucchini or yellow squash or any other greens. Swiss chard leaves are very soft, so they might actually even go even better than the kale. I like the texture of the kale, but you can do whatever you want. So you can add it together and have a really nice dish. Most of the time the kids like the risotto more than they like plain rice sometimes because it's got a creaminess to it. You know, you can tell them it's rice with butter and they will eat it or whatever. But if you've taught your children from the early days how to eat, they eat with you, they will love this, because this one with the orange flavor, out of this world, as they'd say in Italy. So good. So anyway, I hope that you'll continue following. I hope that you will please hit the little dingy bell there at the top of the screen so that you'll be notified when I come live, so that I can bring you more recipes a couple times a week, 2 to 3, that'll be live. And then we'll see what else is coming next, because I've been really craving orange. So I have a feeling there'll be a couple more orange recipes coming up, because I've got a lot of them over there. I gotta use them up. So, you know, we'll be having some fun over the next, week or two. And so I hope you'll be around to enjoy it with me. Also, please check out my YouTube channel and please subscribe to it. So I hope you'll check that out. Doreena's Kitchen, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook Live. Follow me. I'm here to serve you and teach you how to cook so that you can bring your family to the table. Okay, love you all. Ciao.